Hi, it is Friday, December the 11th, and we're just going through the holiday month. So let's get started. Okay, let's see what the forecast is. Hey, here's a forecast. Sunny tomorrow, and then it's rain. Oh my God, they got to do this relief package. The Democrats did a Great Heroes Act in May, and Moscow Mitch has not done anything, but hopefully a bunch of senators, bipartisan, they came up with hopefully a compromise. So they definitely need to do something to help all Americans right now. It's horrible.
Now at how this latest push by lawmakers to provide economic relief in the pandemic. Our Lisa Desjardins is here with the latest. So hello, Lisa. Tell us, where do things stand? Has there been any new movement in the last 24 hours?
I have to say, Judy, these are complex negotiations to begin with. In the last day, they've become more confusing. Lawmakers seem to agree on the rough amount of aid that they can pass. They don't agree on where it should go. Let's look at where we stand right now. The White House yesterday made an offer that would have $600 in direct checks to most Americans, but the White House wouldn't have added any unemployment benefits for those without jobs. Democrats say they need more unemployment benefits, and that states and local governments also need more than the White House was offering. Another problem, the Senate Republican conference is divided over most of these issues, and it's difficult to figure out where a majority of that conference could agree. Now, on this question of direct payments, there has been increased momentum and discussion of adding direct payments to any deal. However, that is a costly prospect, as much as $300 billion, and it is that total cost that Senate Republicans have a problem with. So while that seems to be a popular idea, there has not been a proposal that seems to have momentum that has worked it in to everyone's satisfaction.
So, Lisa, how much pressure from the public are these lawmakers feeling? We have the results of a new PBS NewsHour NPR Marist poll about what Americans want Congress to do here.
We cover so much divide. So many issues in America are 50-50. Not this one. In the PBS NewsHour NPR Marist poll, 2/3 of people responded that the federal government is not doing enough on coronavirus relief, and even more, 2/3 said that that Congress needs to compromise, not stand on principle, but compromise. Why do people feel this way? Well, more and more Americans are directly affected. Let's look at this graphic that shows how many people told us that they or someone in their household had lost a job or income. 40%. And when you look at how many people of color, non-whites, 49%, almost half of all the people of color in our survey said they have lost income. So very serious effects, and that's where the pressure is coming from.
And Lisa, looking at that poll, there were also some interesting findings about where the public is with regard to a vaccine and how they're feeling this pandemic.
Yeah, let me go through these quickly. It's interesting. On the vaccine front, 61% of Americans in our survey told us that they would be vaccinated. That's a big jump from the 49% that gave us that response in just September. And there is a partisan divide on this question. So if you look at that partisan breakdown, Democrats, 75% of Democrats say they would be vaccinated. But it's not just a partisan divide, it's a gender divide. Republican men, 61% say they would be okay with being vaccinated, but 34% of Republican women only would say they're vaccinated. So something going on in gender there possibly. But one area that everyone seems to agree with, most people, 2/3, Judy, say they now know someone who was sick or they themselves have been sick with the coronavirus.
So interesting and concerning, Lisa, as you say, about that political divide over the vaccine. All right, Lisa Desjardins reporting for us. Thank you.
They have to pass something. They will do it in the next week. Okay, this is crazy. So the Attorney General in Texas wanting to kiss Trump's ass is suing four states. He's suing Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Georgia for I don't know what. For saying that they allowed mail-in ballots. That's so fucking crazy. He just wants to do it. He wants to get on Trump's good side. They, whenever you have a state suing another state, it goes to the Supreme Court automatically because obviously that's the only federal highest court. And the defendants, which are the states of Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Georgia, have to file their briefs by today, like only 24 hours. So this is crazy. The Supreme Court's not going to do anything. This is all a states thing. Okay, this is like so crazy. I mean, there was like 3,000 deaths today in COVID, record number, and like 230,000 infections. And Trump has done nothing about COVID-19. And he spends his time doing this. That's so fucked up. I want him to go like now.
I look at this. Pete, good morning. You have a piece up right now on NBCnews.com that sort of ticks through the flaws in this case. What's at the center of this? Does it have any standing? Is there any chance the Supreme Court will hear it?
So this lawsuit has been criticized by both conservative and liberal legal experts, especially election law experts, who point out a couple of real serious problems. It is true that when one state wants to sue another, the Supreme Court is where those lawsuits originate. The states first have to ask the Supreme Courts for permission to sue. The problem here is that we don't have national elections. We have a series of state elections. So the question here is, in what way is Texas harmed, or voters in Texas harmed, if the election laws are violated in another state? Now, those states have already litigated those questions about whether election laws were violated. And, for example, counting ballots didn't have signatures or dates on the ballot envelopes. Those states have dealt with those questions. So that's the real serious flaw at the center, according to these legal experts, is that Texas just doesn't have standing. It can't show how it is harmed by, even if there is an election law violation in another state, states that have already determined there wasn't. Second thing is that what Texas is asking the Supreme Court to do is delay Monday's electoral college vote for those four states. It says the matter should still be investigated. The Constitution says that Congress sets the date for when the electors meet, and that date has to be uniform, the same day throughout the United States. So these legal scholars say it would be unconstitutional for the Supreme Court to try to delay the election in just four of those states, given that it has to be the same day. So those are, I think, the central problem with the legal theory here. They're asking the Supreme Court to do something that's unconstitutional. Texas doesn't have standing. And the other thing is, when you go to the Supreme Court, when one state wants to sue another, the state has to demonstrate that there's no other place to litigate these claims. And in fact, the claims that Texas makes have already been litigated in those four states.
So, Pete, we know the Supreme Court was quickly dismissive of the Pennsylvania suit. It was a one-line order. There were no noted dissents, suggesting that all 9 justices agreed to not hear the case. What do you expect here from the Supreme Court?
Well, they're moving very quickly on this one, too, because, as you noted, Willie, the court has told the defendant states that they need to respond to this by today. Now, that's moving at hyperspeed for one of these what are called original actions, when one state sues another. Original because they originate in the Supreme Court. So they've asked the states for a quick response. It would seem that the court is well aware that Monday is the electoral college date, and I would be very surprised if the court doesn't act one way or another on this before Monday.
All right, we'll keep our eyes on it. NBC's Pete Williams, thank you very much, as always.
It's a frivolous lawsuit. The Supreme Court's not going to hear this. They're not going to hear this. It's just bullshit. Okay, Facebook is being sued by the U.S. Federal Trade Commission and 47 states. And they actually are proposing that they have to break up Facebook. So they're saying that they have to sell Instagram and WhatsApp, even though they were approved by the FTC. Okay, but I think there's some merit with this. So here's a story about what's happening with Facebook. Again, FTC and 47 states are suing Facebook, and their remedy is having Facebook sell Instagram. Let's see.
Facebook is one of the most valuable companies in the world, but its dominance is the subject of major new antitrust actions. A pair of lawsuits filed by the Federal Trade Commission and by 46 states, along with the District of Columbia and the territory of Guam, allege that Facebook used its power illegally to drive out competition and buy out rivals, specifically Instagram and WhatsApp. Phil Weiser is the Attorney General for the state of Colorado. He's a Democrat. He was part of this lawsuit, and he joins us now. Mr. Attorney General, thank you so much for being here. And I should say, before we begin, we want to note for the record that the Chan-Zuckerberg initiative, founded by Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg and his wife, Priscilla Chan, they are a NewsHour funder, that organization. But to you, Mr. Attorney General, tell us what it is that you and the others who are part of this lawsuit by these states allege that Facebook has done illegally.
Judy, it's a pleasure to be here. We're bringing this lawsuit because Facebook embarked on a campaign. They were either going to buy its most challenging rivals or it was going to bury them. And that was a well-designed campaign. And what would happen is if you were a threatening upstart like Instagram, like WhatsApp, you could be purchased. Alternatively, if you refuse to sell out, they would cut you off with access on a discriminatory basis and undermine your ability to compete in the marketplace. The result is Facebook doesn't face competition. They don't have to provide as good a product, including as good privacy protections. And we don't have the innovation that is the American way that helps provide better products and services for customers.
So specifically, you're saying this is something you're saying Facebook did systematically at one time. What do you be a little bit more specific?
Sure thing. Starting a little less than a decade ago, Facebook was in a dominant position. In the social networking space, they had asserted their dominance. They had come to basically be the go-to place. Their plan is we don't want to face competition. So we can either buy out the would-be rivals or we can undermine their ability to compete, choking off their air supply. And so that was the campaign they had. Two of the most notable threats they faced were Instagram and were WhatsApp. They purchased those companies, and they engaged in this effort to cut off others so they couldn't be effective rivals.
So Facebook issued a statement today, and I know you're familiar with it. They say this is all about punishing a successful business. They say what they did with Instagram and WhatsApp, that they became popular products, the popular products they are because Facebook invested billions of dollars in them and years of innovation and expertise to develop them. That is at least the surface of their argument.
We have a different explanation for what's going on here, which is that both companies were on stellar trajectories, designed very effectively in a powerful niche where they could erode Facebook's dominance. And when Facebook purchased them, Facebook then managed the products to remain in a space that wouldn't undermine Facebook's dominant position. And so Facebook has squelched competition through these purchases. And that is indeed a core part of our case, as well as, of course, undermining other rivals who refuse to sell out.
So the Instagram takeover happened in 2012, the WhatsApp in 2014. Why has it taken all these years to pull this lawsuit or these lawsuits together?
Under the antitrust laws, mergers can be conducted for purposes of maintaining a monopoly. And there have been past cases where that's happened. What we've done here is we've done a thorough look back. We've sought to explain, why is Facebook this dominant firm that's not facing competitive threats? And part of the answer was this strategy of acquisitions, along with a commitment to bury those who refuse to sell out. So we're bringing what is a integrated case, putting together a chain of events, a campaign by Facebook that we see as anti-competitive and violating the antitrust laws.
As we reported, Mr. Weiser, the Federal Trade Commission today announced a similar lawsuit against Facebook. Among other things, they would require, if they're successful, that Facebook divest its assets, including Instagram and WhatsApp. Is that what your lawsuit is also asking them to do, essentially to break up Facebook?
Judy, we have two different categories of the remedies that we seek to restore competition and to give consumers the benefits of a competitive marketplace. First, as you note, divesting illegally acquired companies that were acquired for the purposes of squelching competition. Number two, provide reliable, non-discriminatory access to Facebook's platform so Facebook can't use this as a tool to undermine and threaten would-be rivals as it has done so in the past.
And are you saying they could do this without essentially breaking the company up?
Well, the divestiture is, if you will, a form of taking a piece of the company, Instagram now a part of Facebook, WhatsApp a part, and they would be sold off to rivals so that they could be used as a basis for threatening Facebook's dominance. Facebook is allowed to compete on the merits. That's the American way. What they're not allowed to do is acquire other companies to prevent them from facing real threats or cut off access in a discriminatory way so that companies are unable to compete against them.
The Attorney General for the state of Colorado, Phil Weiser, we thank you very much for joining us.
Look at this. Oh my God. They lowered, you see how they lowered the floor? They kept the roof. That was the only thing they kept, was the roof. As you can see, that's what they did. They kept the roof from the 1962 World's Fair. Look at all, oh my God, look how many different levels there are. That looks promising. So can't wait to attend Seattle Kraken game next fall. My good friend Todd Stewart has season tickets, so definitely get to go to at least a game or two. So I'm going to show you a few movies on the top list. I got this email from Phyllis, the top movies on Hulu. She Dies Tomorrow. They said this was their best movie in 2020, which is interesting. Interesting a movie. Then The Nice Guys. This is from a few years back. And then Palm Springs. So let's go through these three trailers.
Hi. How's the new house?
Good. Can you come over?
I can't. Are you okay?
I am going to die tomorrow.
What is going on?
There is no tomorrow for me.
All right, listen, Amy, I'm really freaking out right now. I feel like you put this idea of dying in my head. Can you just call me back?
You expecting someone?
Hello, Jane.
You okay?
I just have this feeling I'm going to die tomorrow.
But how do you know?
I just know.
Okay, so you don't know.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
I just thought for a second when the lights went out that was it.
She could be right.
What?
You're worried about catching something?
Is this how it ends? Something really bad is gonna happen.
I'm ready. She did this. Did this. Did this. I'm not ready.
It's my husband. He's gone missing.
Missing?
I'm terribly worried. It's just Fred's never been gone this long before.
How long has he been missing?
Since the funeral.
Well, I can start right away.
You're a private investigator?
My profession is very complicated, okay? It's nuanced.
That's a lot of blood.
You beat people up and charge money?
Yeah. Sad, isn't it?
How much would you charge to beat up my friend Janet?
What?
How much you got?
$30?
That's good. This conversation is over.
The mob is trying to spread its operation to Los Angeles. Somehow, my daughter Amelia is involved. Please, find her.
Seen this girl?
What's in it for me? Oh, we can do this the easy way. Ow! We're currently doing it the easy way.
Whatever happened to offering me $20?
It's the recession. This is a high-profile case.
Made the newspapers. Where is Amelia?
What the hell's going on?
Oh, you know, there's a guy coming to kill us. That kind of crap.
Hey, can you behave like a professional?
I'm sorry.
She's in danger, man. We have to do something about it.
She's dead.
She's not dead. She's not dead.
Why do you think everyone involved with this case was dying? This is not you. You're not a murderer.
You just killed 3 people.
I know, but I'm saying deep down.
Look, if you come in here, you beat up on me. It's part of the job. I accept it. But what did you do? You pissed me off.
Before we go solving the crime of the century, let's deal with the rotting corpse.
I got a plan. Run.
It's gonna be a beautiful wedding.
Here you are, standing on the precipice of something so much bigger than anyone here. But always remember, you are not alone.
I don't think that we met. I'm Sarah.
Niles.
Hi.
Hi.
Nice.
Run, rabbit, run!
Niles?
Don't come in here.
What the?
It's gonna be a beautiful wedding.
Good day so far? Today, tomorrow, it's all the same.
You! What is going on? Hey, get out of the water!
Guess you followed me. It's one of those infinite time loop situations you might have heard about.
That I might have heard about.
Yeah. The second you fall asleep, it all just goes back to the start.
I drove all the way back home to Austin, and I still woke up here.
One time I smoked a bunch of crystal and made it all the way to Equatorial Guinea. It was a huge waste of time.
Well, then what's the point of living?
We kind of have no choice but to live.
No, I'm gonna get out of this.
Suit yourself. See you tomorrow.
So now what do we do?
You just have to embrace the fact that nothing matters.
Do you sleep with people in here?
Great question. I have, but it takes a lot of work. May I cut in? It's the first dance. And that's a deal breaker.
That didn't work? Let's waste some time.
This is crazy!
You want to dance? You know the officiant? He's got a bag of sweets in his pocket.
You were right. Got him.
I can't keep waking up in here. Everything that we are doing is meaningless.
I hope it's not all meaningless.
At least you have each other. Nothing worse than going through this shit alone.
Stop! There's a bomb in the cake. Don't worry. I used to be a bomb guy. Stand back!
Oh my God! Let me make it plain. Gotta make way for
It's gonna be a beautiful wedding.
Okay, those are pretty good movies. Those are on my list. Oh my list is so huge. I'm sure your list is huge too, since I've been recommending like 3 shows a day. So enjoy. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.